So it's Wednesday, the 18th of September. Obviously I was supposed to start uploading my own story. Got sidetracked there on my daughter's birthday, as I said in my last video. And I have to wait for Wharf City Council to get back. I was asked to give them 28 days to reply to my mail because I'm looking for another copy of my file. And they can either give me one edited or unedited. It doesn't really matter. I just want a copy of my file one way or the other. And I will take it from there. They don't know what to do. But socially, it's much the same. I'm not going to get into all the details now because I want to get off of this topic just for a minute again, unfortunately. And I want to talk about socially what's going on. I will upload my own story over the next few days. I'll start uploading it. And I'm not trying to make anyone believe me or kind of sway anyone's opinion about me. They can just listen to it and they can make up their own minds whether or not I'm telling the truth. And more importantly, these people I'm going to name because they're corrupt. Realistically, will I get anywhere with this? It's highly unlikely. But I'm still going to try. I'm not giving up on this. And I'll explain the story as I go, and you can make your own minds up. When you think about it, you have a charity in town there, a children's charity, with multiple years of allegations. Multiple years of allegations. You have people then being brought up there with allegations regarding their kind of character from previously. I'm going to explain the story. When you hear how serious this is, and how corrupt it is, and it paints a very nasty picture about the whole system and how it works within Waterford. And unfortunately, I have to deal with these clowns on a daily basis. And it is what it is. It's something I have to kind of accept. I'll deal with that situation and I'll put it all out there. So just so people know how corrupt these people are. And then you can make your own minds up whether you want to hire these people or go to these people. And these people are well within the right then to take a case against me. I've always said this. But I just wanted to talk briefly about socially what's going on around Ireland. Like, it's ridiculous. You have these groups, these trans groups, these other LGBTQ, whatever you want to call all these groups. I don't really know. I don't really care, if I'm being honest with you. It's not like I have an issue with any of them. I don't. I genuinely don't care. And I happen to know that, like, the majority of people genuinely don't care. But they care when they're trying to undermine people's kind of concern about what's happening to the country. And that's what's going on. These people are being rolled out by the likes of Sinn Féin and stuff. These organisations are being hijacked in nothing more than an effort to kind of like undermine people who are trying to speak up about what's going on to the country. Like, where was Sinn Féin's support for all these kind of gay rights groups and all these kind of trans groups? Do you know what I mean? It was non-existent. They're being used. It's blatantly being used. Their sexuality is being weaponised. That's essentially what's going on. They're weaponising their sexuality. In the face of scientific like fact, do you know what I mean? They're trying to push this ideology onto our kids. It's absolutely deplorable. And how men can stand back and let this happen, I find it disgusting. Even my own stuff, my own situation, like, where's all the Republicans now? You were all quick to run up and vote for David Cullinane in Waterford. Good buddy of our ex-minister, ex-mayor. I'll get to all that in another couple of videos. Up in Ballybricken in Waterford at the kind of Says No protest only a couple of days ago, with all these pro-Palestinian groups and the kind of trans groups and all this. Mr. Cullinane had no interest in any of these groups all along. Neither did Sinn Féin, neither did any of these other parties. But because they're benefiting, because you're basically shouting down common sense Irish people who are pointing out the kind of failures from the government and the potential dangers of bringing in undocumented migrants. This is not about no refugees. As you're pushing, as all these pro-Palestinian are pushing, this is not about kind of Ireland says no to all refugees. Nobody has ever said that. The only people that has ever said that are these pro-Palestinian clowns who are being wheeled out, as I said, by the likes of David Cullinane. They're weaponising your sexuality. Like, the majority of people in Ireland don't care who's gay, who's not gay, who's trans, who's not trans. They care when the ideology of this is being pushed onto the kids. And realistically, it's just a smokescreen while they put in all these undocumented migrants. Yet again, only yesterday now, another child attacked up in Dublin. Another child attacked and stabbed up in Dublin yet again. And do you know why all these trans groups and all this, do you know why these get the backing? Realistically, why they get the backing? Because they're easily manipulated. That's really why. They do what they're told. Like in Ballybricken there the other day, like, it was virtually kind of anyone showed up. And then there's pictures put up all on social media of kind of like Waterford Says No groups. And the men are standing there posing with their faces covered. There's no women, there's no children. And they're not casting any aspersions on the people who did come up, because at least they had the balls to come up. But there should have been women and children there. They don't need to cover their face. It's a peaceful protest. We're playing into the hands of these clowns on the left who are trying to push that this is some kind of racist, no refugees, zero refugees, Ireland don't want any refugees. This is a blatant lie. Ireland had done nothing but taking refugees for a long time, for many a year. We were the minority ourselves. We know what it feels like. We know what it's like to be discriminated against. And now we have these kind of trans clowns and all these kind of various kind of groups. And as I said, it's not like I have an issue with kind of whatever they do in their private life or their fetish. But I have an issue when they're pushing that shit onto your children and it's being pushed through schools. People need to look into what they're going to try and push onto your kids in the school. People in Waterford, you're all quick to talk about me and spread your shit about me. Do you know what I mean? You can't stand up now and protect your fellow Irishmen, or more importantly, even stand up for the rights of your kids. Whereas all the Republicans, you were all quick enough to vote in David Cullinane, and I'm calling out Waterford freewheelers especially, giving the illusion that you're all kind of Republicans. Where's all the Republicans now, when they're needed? So what was it? All just smoke and mirrors? When the going got tough, everybody got going. Where are all these people? If we were invaded in the morning, and I mean really invaded, as in a physical war, we wouldn't stand a chance. My own stuff, unfortunately, is probably going to fall down the cracks between all this kind of stuff, because I feel very kind of steadfast about this kind of whole kind of social stuff, what's going on, because I know it's going to be put on to my daughter, so it's a concern for me. And my own stuff is probably going to fall down the cracks. It's the likes of Leona MacDonald gets our corrupt actions covered up. The likes of the Halligans, all their sleazy stuff up in their children's charity, and how the failures and protocol was watched on by Waterford Garrity, all of that is going to be covered up. How they rolled out Henry Halligan in and out of a charity. Despite the allegations previously about this person, no one questioned why he was brought in around the children's charity. Roisin Doherty, Leo Kennedy, two of these get caught searching my mother's bedroom. My mother in the bed watching it. They get their actions covered up by Joe Daniels. Why? Because Joe Daniels rubbing shoulders with who? David Cullinane. David Cullinane rubbing shoulders with who? John Halligan. I know it probably looks like I'm blaming everyone and anyone, but I'm not really. Because if you notice, it's the same handful of names I mention over and over again. It's just these people, they have pull within Waterford City Council. They are pulled with various groups around Waterford. I'm not going to get into all these kind of tradesmen, all these kind of builders. These people are just twits, being honest with you. As I said, they're cowards. They're voiceless. When you need to have a voice, they're voiceless. Do you know what I mean? Even to support the Irish, even to just kind of push me away from it and further ostracise me, even to do that, that would have been something. But I'll explain my own story over the next few days. I was to give 28 days to Waterford City Council to answer me back. 28 days for me is a long time, being honest with you. I'm usually too hasty. But they're trying everything not to give me my file. They don't know whether to give me my file because they've already edited. And the emails they took out of my file, I sent some of these back in to the previous CEO, Michael Walsh. But he's one of the boys, so basically he didn't really do anything. He looked the other way. This is the culture in Waterford. Despite getting caught being corrupt, they still get their actions covered up. This is what's going on in Waterford. And I thought it was just Waterford. But unfortunately, I'm seeing now it's all over Ireland. Good times have created weak men. Where are all these hardline Republicans? It wasn't that long ago you were moonlighting as Republicans. You were all up there voting for Cullinane. Where are you? You can't show your face to support the Irish people. But you can all talk about me and gossip about me and follow me from A to B. How difficult it must be, you know what I mean, to try and intimidate and bully one person. Do you know what I mean? A group of cowards, a group of weak cowards is what we have. And unfortunately we have it up and down Ireland, it seems. I deal with my own stuff. I'm not going to give it up. Just because you don't hear from me in a few days, it doesn't mean I've given up. I'm aware that if I go too deep into this, that it would probably consume me, and it would take from being a father to my daughter and being a husband to my wife. And I'm aware of all this. So when it gets like that, I kind of back off a bit. I read a lot of kind of philosophy, or to be honest with you, I have it read to me through the audiobooks. Thank God for audiobooks. So I will deal with that, and I'll expose these people. Because if nothing else, they'll get exposed for being corrupt. But unfortunately, there's so many of these people. They all have links to this group or that group, and there's a large number of people there now, all pulling strings for each other. But as I said, these people are just cowards. I don't want to be kind of ranting and raving and kind of trading insults, kind of, because it's the lowest form of kind of conversation realistically to be just kind of trading kind of insults. But these are caught. Waterford City Council know they're caught. They don't know what to do. They're aware of Roisin Doherty and Leo Kennedy getting caught searching me mothers. Now, either they investigated and they found there was nothing there. If that's the case, provide me with the findings of the investigation. They also took a house back from myself and my wife, lured us into signing over the house. Joe Daniels done this. Again, Joe Daniels. We didn't believe him, so he gave us a reference to get us to sign over the house. We were supposed to get a house swap, but it couldn't be implemented until we signed over the house. This is what he said. We didn't believe him. He gave us a reference, signed the reference. It's on the Waterford City Council letterhead. We found out afterwards that he had no authority to do this. As a state-funded organisation, they don't ever give references. It was basically just to dupe us into signing over the house. We lost our house, myself and my wife. We lost all our possessions, all our clothes, all our furniture. We lost everything. We were ran out of the house by cronies of David Cullinane, moonlighting as these IRA heads. Where are you all now? Where are you all now, Again, it's so difficult for a group of people to try and bully one person. Do you know what I mean? But they're caught. Waterford Gardaí has been fanning the flames of this for years. Years they've been fanning the flames of this. But as I said, there's a load of documentation showing their actions. So they don't know what to do either, except to come down around me apartment and blare their sirens in an effort to try and harass me. They're desperately trying to cover up their failures regarding Children's Group Link, a children's charity with multiple allegations. Sister of our ex-mayor, ex-minister John Halligan, brought Henry Halligan up there, another brother of our ex-mayor, ex-minister John Halligan. And Mr. Henry Halligan had a previous allegation hanging over his head, so he should have never been in around the children's charity. And this is why Henry Halligan is out hiding out in Ballybeg Church, protected by the bishop, the same bishop who was rubbing shoulders with John Halligan. And if you go to my first TikTok video, you see Ray Halligan, another brother of the ex-minister, ex-mayor John Halligan, and he's trying to interfere with the court case. And now, there's an ongoing court case right now regarding another situation, which we can't really talk about, but I will get back to that. But if you go to the first TikTok, you will see that's Ray Halligan, and he's trying to interfere with the court case. And Waterford Gardaí done not. They didn't take my wife's statement, they didn't take my statement. They tried to say that I'd be charged for him to be charged. So I said, fine, charge me then. And then they said, wait, no, there's no evidence. So Waterford Gardaí are up to their neck, because they basically done the whole stuff. Now the whole Bill Keneally case, Google all this, it's the same Garda station. You have to question, is it the same guards? This is an absolute shit show. I had a solicitor, Leona MacDonald, corrupted me case to no end. I called Leona MacDonald in the consultation room with my ex. Leona MacDonald sent me on my ex's email number, trying to get me to email her so I could be arrested for breaking a safety order, which I had already been arrested for. She knew I'd been arrested for breaking a safety order. I made the mistake of trying to give the woman a bag of Easter eggs. Leona MacDonald took off Dr. Theresa Graham, who was to do a report on my case. She brought in Mary Bird, this one done a hatchet job on me, pretended she didn't know who Mary Bird was, never had her on her case. She was from up the country apparently. It turned out she did know who Mary Bird was. She did have her on her case. They done an absolute hatchet job on me. And when she got caught then, they had a meeting in the courthouse behind me back and tried to transfer my case up to Dublin to try and hide her kind of sleazy behaviour. Then when I gets me file, she tries to kind of withhold my own file from me, and then she deletes the file, trying to say that the 5 years was up. She deleted my file. I contacted the Law Society. They said she has an obligation to retain the file for 5 years. She must retain all aspects of the file for 5 years. Miss MacDonald then said, oh, the 5 years was up, so I deleted the file. I was able to get into Google Cloud and get into my emails, which had been deleted. And my emails showed, as I had been saying, that the 5 years was not up, and for whatever reason Miss Leona MacDonald deleted my file to hide her actions. Now there's a load of other stuff like that, and I don't have the time, I'll be honest with you, to go into it. And I'll speak about all of this over the next kind of week or two, because I have to send it on to someone, as I've been saying. But this was all started for me with Dr. Anne Carey, who was out in Clarenwood, out in Tramore. Her and her husband done all of this crazy stuff. I got lured into this stupid Baha'i religion thing. My ex is still in it. I'll explain all this story because I'm getting off the topic there now, and I'll have to just stick to that story. And you're waiting to hear this. This is the most craziest story you will ever hear. But then again, I could be lying. But just hear me out. That's all I'm saying. But regarding socially, around Ireland, and not on about these clowns now who are following me from A to B, it is what it is. I deal with them, they don't bother me. I showed how much it bothered you yesterday when I brought my daughter over to the park for a walk. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. All these people are worried that their actions are going to be exposed, but they were fortunate enough for all this kind of social stuff to kind of go on. So they'll predominantly get their actions hid by like-minded corrupt politicians. But people need to wake up to these LGBTQ and all these other kind of groups that are being funded by our government. Have a look, Google this and have a look at the amount of these groups that are funded by our government. And they're also being kind of egged on almost to come up and protest against the kind of the Waterford says no or the Dublin says no. Like, this is not about like Irish people saying that we don't want any refugees. We're willing to accept some refugees that are documented so we know who they are. We're not willing to accept men being forced in around our kids. We're not willing to accept this ideology, this poisonous ideology, trying to more or less groom our kids. They're grooming our kids. Jesus Christ, like, has nobody any kind of logic or a pair of balls in all of this? Like, people need to go and do some research. If you have kids or grandkids, go do some research. Find out about these books that they're trying to push upon your kids. And then you have all these trans men. They want to be recognised as women. You're a man dressed as a woman. You're a woman dressed as a man. It is what it is. Like, what you do in your private life is your own business. Like, you're trying to argue now with scientific fact, biology, genetics. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Like, and unfortunately, by me talking about this, I have the whole kind of left-wing kind of trolls basically after spreading all this kind of pornography stuff on behalf of like Sinn Féin and Waterford Council. It was essentially more or less delivered person to person by this group and by Sinn Féin and by members of Waterford Freewheelers and by members of Waterford Council and of course the Halligans. Let's not forget them. So unfortunately, I'm after running in on these clowns basically because my principles are more important to me than tiptoeing around these people. So it's after making it all the more difficult. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Is there nobody like questioning the fact why there's so many men, right, identifying as women and trying to force this down their throat, but yet the numbers of women identifying as men are so much less? It's disproportionate. Do you know what I mean? When you think about it, it's as simple as that. You have men forcing this upon you. You have a society that's so weak. Let's be honest about it. You have a society that's so weak that's letting this happen at the end of the day. You don't see this in the Middle East. They're laughing at us. This is all being driven from the Middle East. This is about billions and trillions of dollars. Numbers that we can't even fathom. And they're laughing at us. How to destroy a civilization. They don't even have to go to war with us. Feminize our men. Confuse our children. Pay off our government. I won't be a conspiracy theorist, but like, it's blatantly obvious. Do you know what I mean? Ye all see this for what it is. Ye all see this for what it is. You're not stupid. Ye see what I see. If you have any interest like in your children and your grandchildren and their future or your history or your culture, like, you need to turn out. You need to be seen. You need to be heard. Don't resort to kind of violence with this. This is what they want. They want violence. Do not resort to violence with this. It will only feed into the narrative that you're being aggressive. Unless you're attacked, you can fight back. That's fair enough. But numbers are needed. Numbers are needed. Women are needed and children are needed to show that this is a family concerned issue. This is not about racism. This is not about transphobic. This is not about xenophobic. So I just wanted to say that there now. Sorry there, I have this clown up over me tapping on my floor. I'm not sure if the microphone is picking it up. But he's strategically placed up the from Waterford City Council in conjunction with JEC Security and Waterford Freewheelers. No surprise there really. There's another person in the apparent, a foreign chap up there. I can only imagine what he's listening to with this clown up there. So I'm pretty kind of annoyed with this. So I'm going to try and make another channel because I just want to talk about kind of this whole social unrest as a concerned parent, not as a racist, not as a far right. And I just want to start putting information out there. Because the only information that we're getting is through social media. And when they clamp down on social media and stop you from having a voice, it's the end of the line. By that stage, you're going to have some kind of an army behind you. And as I said, it's not about violence. It's not about any of this kind of stuff. You're going to need an army of like-minded people to press the point that this is of serious concern for your children and your children's future. It's an absolute insult to our ancestors and all the men that came before us. Absolutely insulting. To think that our government would flip-flop so quick and sell out our history. And then we have the likes of Mary Lou MacDonald. Nobody knows what to believe out of this woman. Absolutely deplorable. Trying to talk about her husband's illness, trying to gain kind of a little bit of sympathy. But then again, you have Simon Harris and he's talking about the abuse in the schools. You have Norma Foley talking about an investigation into abuse in the schools. That's old news. We're all aware of all of this. Why don't you talk about the men that are attacking the children in Ireland? Why don't you talk about the men who are attacking the women in Ireland? Why don't you talk about the amount of men who are undocumented coming into the country? That's not a concern, that these people are purposely hiding their documentation. You have Michael O'Leary from Ryanair came out and said that you can find the documentation that's been left on the plane ripped up. So you're aware of what's going on. Any people that suffer at the hands of these undocumented migrants, I'm sure the state owes you some kind of a duty, you care. So you should try and bring a case against the state. So I'm just going to leave it there, and I want to emphasise this is not a homophobic rant. I don't really care what anybody does in their private life. I'd like to think that I'm morally kind of somewhat superior, that I don't judge people, but I'm not. I'll be honest and say I'm not, but I genuinely don't care who's gay, who's not gay, who wants to dress up as a woman, who wants to dress up as a man. I don't care. I care when you're putting that ideology into the kids, then I care. And I know there's a lot of like-minded people with me, but you're being silenced. You have these left-wing kind of clowns being rolled out, and it makes it seem like I have no voice in this. There's more of them. There's not more of them. They're getting funded by our government. There's not more of them. They're getting their amps and all this supply to them from the likes of Sinn Féin. They're being paid, some of them, to turn up. The NGOs are paying them. There's not more of them. There's more of us. There's no point in hitting likes or shares on posts. You need to get up, be seen, be heard. I turned up myself in that Ballybrickin thing the other day. To me, go into a crowd socially with all my own stuff going on is very difficult. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want these down. I'm just going to leave it there now because I'm starting to kind of go on a bit. So I'll start putting up my own story in a few days, 100%. And as I said, I'm just asking people to just hear me out. You can block me, you can laugh at it, you can share, you can like it. When you hear how corrupt these people are, and if I'm lying, these people are well within the right to take a case against me. And I plan on making another channel to kind of address this kind of social unrest within Ireland, because there's things I want to say, and there's things that other people want to say, and they feel like they don't have a voice. And I'm willing to say what other people are not willing to say. People need to step up and stop being concerned what people think of them or how they're going to look. And if anybody can like or share these videos, I appreciate it. If you can't and you don't want it, that's fine as well. So I'll leave it there. Thanks. Bye.